everybody, it's your girl Sherry. Welcome back to Alleged Actually podcast. Y'all, today is Monday, so it's Bravo Monday. And y'all, what a great time to be a Bravo fan. Honey, the Bravo universe is just giving and giving and giving. All the good shows are coming back. We've got premiere after premiere. And on tonight, we are going to talk about none other than Married to Medicine. Y'all, last night they had their premiere episode, and we're going to talk about it over here. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts and recap the actual episode. But before I do that, if you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit that like, thumbs up, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you haven't yet, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we drop this good content. Let me take a second, though, to talk to you. Just a second. Bear with me because I'm going to get to this recap shortly. But I want to take some time to say thank you. This is honestly, guys, a full circle moment for me. And the reason I say that is this channel is a year old as of November 13th. And myself and my daughter, Bria, started the channel together as a conversation that we'd had many, many times about talking about our favorite shows as we would be coming home from work and saying, look, we could totally do this on a podcast. And we started a YouTube channel. I got it started in November of last year, right after I came from BravoCon. I was reeling off of the highs of being around so many wonderful Bravo fans, friends that I made there that felt like family. And a lot of them gave me the last little push to go ahead and get started. And so when I started the channel, I was recapping Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. And so here I am again, getting ready to kick off a premiere episode of season 11 for Married to Medicine. And the channel is going into its second season, second year, and we have grown. We are now at 5.37K subscribers. Y'all, you have no idea how grateful I am. And serious moment, I just want to take this time to say thank you to each one of you that have taken your time to watch our commentary and our videos and our lives and have commented and given us good feedback. I mean, we've gotten some negative comments, but I thank you for those too. Because if you go back and see some of the early videos, just gotten better over here. Confidence has gotten stronger, and I keep coming back because I really love doing this, and Priya as well. And we both will be together and give you guys a shout out before we get into our Thanksgiving holiday fully, just to once again reiterate our gratitude for each one of our actualizers and those of you guys that take time out of your precious day to watch us. Really, it is just so it just makes us feel so good and appreciated, and we appreciate each and every one of you. So now that I got that out of the way, I do have one other thing I want to talk about real quick, and that is the future of the channel. So like I said, we're growing and we are trying to reach our next goal of 6K subscribers, and we are definitely on our way, thanks to you guys. But I wanted to take some time to promote my new channel that will be dropping in December. It is called Perspectives with Sherry. Now, over here at Alleged Actually, honey, ain't nothing going to change. We're still going to be bringing you the recaps and the discussions on shows that we love and love to watch. We'll still get into some pop culture stuff over here, and we'll still do some interviews here that are pertaining to reality. I'm still working with some really exciting things coming, some reality folks that you may want to hear from that you haven't heard from in a while. We'll be bringing you some interviews and more pop culture and recaps over here. But over at Perspectives with Sherry, I am going to focus on midlife women like myself. Transparency, I'm 51 years old. And that channel will focus with other women like myself that are over 40, that are in a great season of our lives, honey, where we have gone through a lot of things. So it's going to be a channel where we'll do some reflecting, some growing, There'll be health tips, beauty tips, wonderful interviews, some other inspiring women that are going to share their stories that I'll be interviewing, and some blogs that I'll be doing talking about my own personal experiences, the struggles that I've overcome to get where I'm at, and some inspirational things that I think all of you are going to really, really want to um, hear and grow from, and that can help you along in your journey. So it is dropping in December. Again, that's Perspectives with Sherry. You'll see it scrolling across the banner there below. So if you would, it's up. We don't have content yet because we'll be dropping that in December, or I will. That'll be my personal channel. So if you would, just take a second to go over there and subscribe. And I promise you, you won't be sorry, ladies. We got lots to talk about. Okay. Now, let's get down to why we're here. And that's the Married to Medicine premiere. So I want to say, in a time that premieres are just been coming out like water, the Married to Medicine premiere that aired last night, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I always do like your on a scale of 1 to 10. So in all honesty, I was not underwhelmed, but I was also not blown away. So I would give it about a 6.5 or 7. And that's solely because I feel like they're giving a lot of the same. And what I mean by that is we do have some new stuff. We've got Dr. Contessa back. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I'm going to be clear. I didn't miss her. She talks about in her confessional, she's back and asked, did we miss her? I can only speak for me. And the answer is nope, sure did not. Not. No shade. Dr. Contessa is absolutely stunning. She's a beautiful woman and she looks amazing right now. Her body is sun-natched. But her last episode before she left the show, just to me, it wasn't giving. It was confusing. She was sharing in one breath about how unhappy she was in her marriage. She was alleging that Scott could possibly be unfaithful. We saw scenes where it seemed as if he was shutting her down and was giving some controlling vibes, some vibes where she wasn't happy when she was going off to school and he didn't seem that supportive. But listen, she took it to a really dark place when Dr. Heavenly remarked on some of the things that actually came out of her mouth. And I'm certainly not going to, defend Dr. Heavenly because she does tend to go too far. And we'll talk about that as we get into this episode. But I'm just not a Dr. Contessa fan. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. Did y'all miss her? Are you happy to see her back in this capacity? Looking like she is, I don't even know if they consider themselves to have kind of friend of the show, but that's what it seems to me that she's giving friend. But we'll get into that as we get into the episode. So y'all let me know what y'all thought. There were some moments in the episode I'm going to talk about that I thought were on point. But overall, not when you're talking about like just off last week from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Salt Lake City, how they came in strong. I can't give it higher than a 6.5, 7. I'll round it off to a 7. Y'all let me know how you thought it was coming, what it was bringing. What would you rate it on 1 to 10? Put it in the comments. Slide in the comments and let me know. So the episode opens up with us kind of getting a chance to say hey to the ladies. We open up with Dr. Jackie and her patient. And that's what Dr. Jackie does. And she's got one of her expecting about to pop patients that she's checking in on. We check in with Phaedra, who's in the car with her son, Dylan. And she's asking Dylan his favorite parts about being in Tokyo. And, she talks about, she enjoys the bidets there. Nothing like a clean behind. I concur, Phaedra. Nothing like it. And then we go over and see Toya and Dr. Eugene. Child, they came in, honey, talking about apparently they had just gotten finished with a little adult time. And, Eugene thought he was being coy and cute with, how he just got finished eating and all that. Y'all, it was very on brand for Toya. Dr. Eugene came off it was a little cringe. I don't know. But I mean, okay, that's what it was given. And then we see Dr. Simone and Cecil, and they are talking about they're getting ready for their 35th college reunion. Y'all, that's deep, right? 35 years since grad from college. Listen, I'm here for it. They are in the process of, as a celebration of their 35th college reunion, they're going to do an ode to Freak Nick, and they're going to call it Whitnick. And listen, for those of y'all that don't know, and they explained as to what Freaknik was, started in the 80s with some of the local HBCUs in Atlanta, and there are many. Simone went to Spelman, Cecil went to Morehouse, you had Clark Atlanta, Morris Brown, oh gosh, several colleges that during spring break, some of the students were not able to go home. So they stayed on campus and had a big party, picnic, all came together. And that was the beginning of what became the phenomenon of Freaknik. Now, listen, I don't know if y'all are familiar, honey, but in my day, it was a thing. I went to the best HBCU in the land, North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. And your girl was in the mix circa 1993 and 94. So I know all about Freaknik now. 89, I wasn't there. That was a little early for me, but honey, I too was in the place. And good times, honey. Good times is all I'm gonna say. If y'all saw the documentary, you saw what went on. Now, your girl was not a part of all of that, but I was definitely out and about, saw lots of sights, and let's just say it was fun. Your girl had a good time. So, bringing it back to the show, they are going to do a party that is going to replicate and go back to their Freaknik days, and it's going to be called Whitnick, which I thought was really cool. And as they're planning, Cecil asked Dr. Simone if all the ladies were invited. And she's like, by all the ladies, she says, all the ladies that I'm talking to. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, no, Cecil, you know what I mean. And we know what you mean, Dr. Simone. We know that, honey, that means Quad ain't invited. Child, here we go again. Anyway, we leave that and go over to Quad's, and Dr. Heavenly is coming to pay Quad a visit with a huge bouquet of flowers in this vase, child. When she gets out the car, she drops the vase and busts the glass, honey, all in Quad's driveway. But she comes up to the door and lets her know she had a little accident. She's going to clean it up, but it's all good. Quad is like, I've got this beautiful bouquet with no vase. So we find out when Quad and Heavenly are talking, they go into Quad's bedroom, which, by the way, is fierce, honey. That place is nicely put together. Good on you, Quad. I love your decor. But we find out that Quad's lets us know that since New York, and by New York, we mean since the reunion, we find out that she's been on kind of a roller coaster ride with the ladies. We find out that she's only heard from Dr. Heavenly since they did the reunion, which I don't know. If for me, I was a little surprised by that. Now, sometimes, honey, I'm naive, so slide in the comments and let me know what y'all thought. But we left the reunion where there were lots of apologies slung around, particularly from Quad. Quad went on an apology tour, honey, and she apologized to all the ladies. And as I recalled, as the reunion wrapped up, it seemed like everybody was in a better place. Everyone, that is, except for Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly. But it seemed like the rest of the ladies in Quad were good. So I was kind of surprised to hear that. But Dr. Heavenly and Quad, they do their catch-up situation. And Quad lets her know that she's really upset with Dr. Simone in particular. And that's because she brought up the incident, as you guys recall, of what happened at Quad's house, where she, unfortunately, in a horrible accident, lost her great niece in an accident at her pool. And I remember when I did the recap on that reunion, I just remember watching that and thinking, "Come on, Simone. You don't have to do that." I mean, Imma get into my thoughts on Dr. Simone, child. I mean, y'all can feel free to happily disagree or agree, but I'm about tired of Dr. Simone. I really am. But at any rate, naturally, Quad is upset about that, and they go back over to Dr. Simone and Cecil says that, he thought they left on good terms after New York, and Dr. Simone said that was true, and then you see that there's some comments that are splashing up on the screen, and Dr. Simone says they did leave on good terms, but then what happened was after the reunion, social media went to town on fans were commenting, particularly Quad's fans, fans of the show, period. And you didn't have to be a Quad fan to feel like that the ladies might have treated her unfairly. And that, particularly with Quad doing all the apology, and some of them still seemed to be pretty indignant, Dr. Simone being one of them. And so as a result, there were quite a few comments out there saying to Quad, look, I wouldn't have apologized to them. And, why did you apologize to those ladies? As a result, I think Quad might have got in her feelings, which that's a kind of a pattern that we see from Quad. She may start off okay and she kind of goes off, has some time to think about things, and then maybe she's not okay after all. So that seems to be what that was given. So at this point, Quad says that Simone needs to be accountable. And I'm not going to say I disagree. I think that Simone should also be accountable for going that far with that statement. That was something that was very hurtful. So I was with Quad there. So then we go over to Sweet Tea and Dr. G. Now, y'all, was it just me? I had to rewind the scene because I watched it last night when it premiered, and then I watched it again on Peacock today, actually, earlier, and I had to rewind it a few times. Y'all, his voice, that high pitched, I couldn't understand some of what the man said. His voice gets under my skin. I'm sorry, Dr. G, but sir, can you please take it down a half a notch? At any rate, honey, we find out, according to Sweet Tea, they have been in marital bliss since we've seen them last. They're still trying to conceive, and Dr. G lets us know that the fertility journey has been tough. They are on their way to go over to Phaedra's house, and they're going to Phaedra's because Dr. G lets us know that his beautiful wife just cannot swim, or is not as strong of a swimmer as she should be or could be. I think clearly after watching her, it was more in her head. I think she was just kind of scared of the water. But child, they go over to Phaedra's, and I thought that was interesting because as disgustingly cringed that Dr. G acted concerning Phaedra, the last place, if I were Sweet Tea, that I would be taking him was to be at Phaedra's house, particularly to go do a pool day where you know how Phaedra be coming, honey. She gonna come with hind parts out, okay? And the way Dr. G was acting at that reunion when he reminisced and talked about Phaedra, I don't know if she should have done that, but at any rate, that's where they're going. They get out there and you see Aiden in the pool waiting on them because apparently the boys are world-class swimmers and also can teach swimming. And so she gets in there and she's in there with her swim cap on. They have the same swim cap, by the way. It's good for when you have braids or extensions, child, in to cover up the hair. So Sweet Tea gets in, y'all. She's got her life vest on. She ain't playing. She got her water shoes on. Sweet Tea is ready. But she gets in, and Phaedra comes out, just as I told you, hind parts out a bit in her Baywatch bathing suit. And the boys, Aiden is in the pool and helping Sweet Tea along. And we're getting some tips and I guess you could say, some instruction from the lawn chair from old Dr. G. And Phaedra says, "What we're all thinking, honey. He's like the Monday morning quarterback from his chair, honey. Just here hurling the plays to her while he sits there and does not even get his toe wet in the water." Okay. So at this point, Sweet Tea is getting the hang of it, little something, and Phaedra comes over with snacks and sits down and talks to Dr. G. And she brings up the conflict between him and Dr. Heavenly. And Dr. G says Dr. Heavenly was talking a lot of junk about Sweet Tea. And Sweet Tea came back with saying what Dr. Heavenly mentioned to her that Mariah said about Dr. Damon cheating. And she made the comment, like, I don't know if it's true, but if it's true, in other words, she would stay with him anyway. But by saying that, I guess Sweet Tea deducted that Dr. Heavenly thought that there could possibly be some truth to Damon cheating, which that was a stretch, y'all. But anyway, and so Dr. G pretty much felt like Sweet Tea was justified in her going after her on social media because Dr. Heavenly had also said a lot of things about Sweet Tea. And then he talked about how Dr. Damon came at him in New York. Child, we find out that, honey, they are not okay from that reunion. I mean, New York was brought up a lot in this premiere. So there's a lot of unfinished business and conversations that they are going to have this season, apparently. But anyway, he said he didn't like how he came at him in New York. And then we start to see a lot of the stuff that was said back and forth by Dr. Heavenly about Dr. G and about Sweet Tea on social media. And that's been a lot of their problem is social media. And Phaedra makes the comment, which was a shocking statistic to me, honey. I had to look and see, and I'm still trying to see if I can fact check that stat that she said. But she said that currently there are only 561 Black men in medical school right now, and so we needed to protect Dr. G. And I get where she was going with that. She said that Dr. Heavenly goes low, says what she wants, and she says, she's not really held accountable for the things that she says. And even when she is, the Dr. Heavenly will kind of just go into a tantrum. And look, I know I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I like Dr. Heavenly, but I do believe that she does go way too far. Way too far for a woman of her status. I mean, she's not just a dentist, a dental surgeon, a cosmetic dentist with several offices. Her practice is huge. She's got Dr. Heavenly University. She has a lot of things going on. And one would think at this point, I mean, that's part of who she is, right? That's why we watch her or that's why she's on Married to Medicine. I'm not going to say that's why we watch her because some of you guys really are not fans of Dr. Heavenly and really are sick of her. I will say that I think she's funny at times, but I do agree that she does go too far. So I'm not condoning her low blows. When she gets in the gutter, honey, I really wish she would work on that. She's seemingly much more intelligent or should be than that. She does her own YouTube over there. She has her show that she'll start doing her recaps on Married to Medicine herself. And, she talks about the season a little bit, and she's talked about her and Sweet Tea's issues and Dr. G. If you haven't watched it yet, it's out now. But let's just say that I don't think she's quite there yet. We'll have to keep watching to see. But then we go over to Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon's house. Dr. Simone and Cecil are coming over for dinner. They say in the confessional that Dr. Simone lets us know that her and Dr. Heavenly have an old crazy relationship, honey, and they haven't been on great terms. And they flash back to the couple's trip back when they went to Hilton Head in South Carolina, and you see a Simone screaming at Dr. Heavenly about not caring about how she feels, and they both, I don't give a F, and I don't this, that, and the third, all that hollering, honey, that Dr. Simone is known for. Her and the hollering, child, She did a little better last season, but look like we'll have to see, honey. But she loves to be hollering in somebody's face. And it couldn't be me. But anyway, they come over and Dr. Heavenly has gotten for them a hibachi man to prepare them a delicious hibachi dinner right there in front of them. I thought that was so cool, y'all. It looked really fun. So the hibachi man was there. They have a good meal. And Cecil, who is, gonna start to stir things up, that Cecil does. And he lets them know, first of all, they had an amazing night and that Dr. Heavenly did her thing by putting that night together. And then he asked Dr. Damon, no, he brings up Dr. Heavenly and Letitia's beef, or Letitia or Sweet Tea, and their issues. And Dr. Damon says, this is where we get a little louder. Cecil says, yes. And Dr. Heavenly says, look, everybody knows me. If you F with my man, I'm going to F with yours. Y'all know how she is with daddy. So in confessional, Dr. Heavenly says it bothered her what Sweet Tea said in New York. And Dr. Damon was also upset with Dr. G for not, when he asked, do you think I'm a cheater? And Dr. G did that little stupid, simple pause and didn't answer, as if his silence was to say, and then he basically says something like, well, I don't know what you do. Yeah, I get why Dr. Dan was upset. Dr. G was wrong for that. I mean, look, nobody says that Dr. Damon is perfect, even Dr. Heavenly, but his reputation should speak for itself, or so far. I mean, listen, if nothing has come out in these blogs yet, child, Dr. Damon must be doing something right, okay? So they also bring up the comment that Dr. Heavenly made on social media that her deceased mother, meaning Dr. Heavenly's deceased mother, had a better chance of conceiving than Sweet Tea did. Y'all. Disappointing. Disappointing and way too far. And Sweet Tea then made derogatory remarks about her profession and her businesses. And she retaliated on her husband. And she called him an abuser, controlling, and said that he wasn't respected in the community. Y'all, just really uncalled for. And Atlanta is a nice bustling city, but in their circles it's like a small town, and you got to be careful what you say. And they are all well respected doctors, so words matter. So I think all involved were wrong. Well, particularly, I'm gonna give Dr. Heavenly. She was wrong for that. Sweet Tea was wrong, but Dr. Heavenly had been coming at her pretty harshly on last season. So, and it wasn't just on the season. She was doing Messy Mondays with Carlos King, who I'm not a very big fan of, y'all. I do watch his stuff now. I'm a fan of his interviews. I think he's a great interviewer. I really do. But him as just a messy. Mm-mm. So both Carlos and Dr. Heavenly on their Messy Mondays, when they would recap Married to Medicine, really gave Sweet Tea a hard time. So Dr. Damon said they're still trying to mend things professionally with their friendship, him and Dr. G, of course. And Dr. Heavenly admits that she can go too far sometimes. And she said she'll apologize and take it back, but moving forward, she's good. So Dr. Heavenly brings up Quad, touche. Because Cecil, if you're going to bring up what's up between her and Sweet Tea, she wants to know what's up with Dr. Simone and Quad. Fair enough, right? I think so. And she believes that Dr. Simone owes Quad an apology. And she said, Quad apologized to everybody. And Cecil's over there agreeing. Y'all, we got to see on this episode, honey, Cecil is riding for Quad. He is. And Dr. Simone admits she was wrong and does owe her an apology for describing the incident. But she felt like in that instant that she needed to get all of that out there in that moment to prove that when things are tough or when any of them are going through, that she shows up for them. I don't think she had to do all that myself. But she's saying, I guess, in that moment, that's where she felt like she had to go. And let's be clear, y'all. She was harboring a lot of anger. Toya was harboring a lot of anger. I felt Dr. Jackie had some she has something against Quad too. I mean, it just seemed like collectively as a group, they just weren't here for Quad. Now, we did talk about there were some things that we weren't privy to. We talked about that in some of the recaps from last season. If you want to go back and check them out, they are still up for you to peruse through. But some of that was some of her behavior on set, showing up late, her attitude about feeling like, she didn't really want to invest in real relationships with the ladies, that she had friends outside. And you see her if you follow her on Instagram and on social media. She kind of hangs out with the Yandys, the Toya Wrights, some of the other ladies in the Atlanta scene. And Quad is a little younger than them, so but they're saying that the relationships to them when it comes to Quad are more for the show and not as genuine as they would like them to be. She has been notably called fake. At any rate, so Dr. Simone said afterward that after the reunion, Quad was in her dressing room as if everything was okay. And Dr. Heavenly basically said, look, that's Quad. She'll do that. Afterwards, everything's fine. But, she'll take a moment, step back, get in her feelings, and then, go dark. So I feel like we talked about just a little bit before, that Quad may have been okay in the moment, but after some reflection in time, got angry. And I guess when she's in her feelings, she's not the most responsive to text messages or phone calls. So now we get ready for the festivities at Whitnick. And the Whitmores, Dr. Simone and Cecil, are talking with their party planner. Child, they have a whole area with the 40s and, all the stuff. They went all out, honey. The nostalgia was real. I was like, yes, yes, yes. That was Freaknik all the way. They had the 40s, honey. Everybody came dressed for the occasion. The cars, and we'll get to that. The music, it was lit. Listen, gave me some ideas. I love me a good theme party too, y'all. So I thought it was lit. And Cecil said they really wanted to give everyone a true essence of what Freaknik was, and they were going to have the party of a lifetime. So over at Phaedra's, Toya and her are getting ready. They're getting their outfits together. Toya's going to give a little biker short action. And Phaedra's like, honey, all you got to do is get them booty shorts out. She's got her little short denim shorts and her wife beater. And Phaedra said she never got a chance to go to Freaknik, honey. It just wasn't giving what a good Christian woman would do. Child, Phaedra, all that hind part and all that mess and your antics, you could have been fitting right in at Freaknik, but okay. And Dr. Jackie's house, we're over there. Her and Dr. Heavenly are trying on wigs, child. Dr. Jackie was talking about how she didn't get to partake in Freaknik because she was in her residency. First of all, we get to see, honey, Dr. Jackie is quite a bit older than some of them. If she was 30, I think she said she was 30 back at that time. They showed some pictures. She looked different, very different. But look, I am so here for all those that were in med school or doing their residency that couldn't partake, honey, because they were investing in their future. Kudos, child. I should have been somewhere with my books open instead of in the mix. But listen, I had a good time and no regrets. Okay. But she didn't get to go. But she did have some friends that went and let her know all about it, honey, about all the fine dudes they met. And she even talks about, honey, being the fact that they were in med school, whatever. She was, ready with her penicillin shots for whomever should need them, child. It was a time to be had. Like I said, your girl wasn't all doing that, but I was witnessing a lot. Okay. So, honey, they try on some wigs, and Dr. Heavenly, out of all them wigs, decides on the Baps wig, child. No, ma'am. Listen, y'all put in the comments, were y'all here for Dr. Heavenly's wig? Because I was not. No. I mean, look, now she went to FAMU, Florida A&M University, another wonderful HBCU. Child, but I'm not gonna give that to FAMU and they was coming out looking like that. I mean, there were now you're talking 89 through, like I said, I was there circa 93 and 94. There might have been some girls that were giving some of those hairstyles. I'm trying to think what was my hairstyles giving. Mm, one year I was given the shortcut, the T-Boz look. hmm And then one year I was giving extensions, hair parted down the middle, as I recall. Yeah. I had on my little Daisy Dukes or the booty shorts as Phaedra was talking and had the tennis skirts going. Child, listen, don't let me get too far down memory lane, but let's just say your girl had a good time. Anyway, over at the event, Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon comes up with Dr. Jackie and Curtis, and they come up an old school Chevelle. Listen, I was living for those vintage cars. I was living for the entrance, okay? Each one of them coming in those cars, that was so cool, y'all. I was here for that. I did. I really like that. Uh, Dr. Heavenly talks about being at FAMU, and she was there back in 90, honey. They show her throwback. Her throwback pic. Listen, I'm not mad. That is very 1990. I was still in high school, so I'm gonna pull a Toya. I think they're a little older than me. Like I said, I'm 51. 90, I was still in high school. I graduated in 91, so I wasn't too far behind. Like I said, I was there in 93. But Dr. Heavily shows her picture, her and her girlfriends, they went. Child, she's like me. She had a good old time, honey. And Dr. Damon, we find out he didn't get to go. He said each time he had an opportunity to go, there was always a test or something to do. Shout out to all of those good, dedicated students that could not go because they had to prepare themselves. Honey, listen, I'm sure there's no regrets because y'all are doing your thing. Like I said, your girl put them books down so she could go partake. I'm just saying. So then, y'all, we have the grand entrance of Dr. Simone and Cecil. They come with the car with the hydraulics. I was living for that too. That was so cool, child. They came in, the car was bouncing. I was like, yes, Whitmores. Love that. They were Run DM Cecil and De La Simone. Child, I was here for every bit of it. I love the little nicknames. Outfits. Let's talk outfits real quick. Who do you think had the best Whitnick outfit? I tried to find the images, y'all, so I could put it on the screen. I'll give you what I've got. Here's a quick little peek. Let's see. We got, that's not even a good, that was like a quick one of Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon with her Baps wig on. Not the best. And then you're going to see Simone, Dr. Simone and Cecil on stage. Simone got the glasses, child. She got the high-low hair. Listen, Cecil got New Balance athletic gear on. I mean, it was just giving. I just enjoyed all of that. Every bit of that. I was here for it. So next up, we had Toya, Dr. Eugene, and Phaedra. They came pulling up in the old school Mustang. Toya said that she was too young, honey, for Freaknik, and Dr. Eugene said that when Freaknik was in its heyday, he was still in middle school, child. So they're a little younger, but we had Tony Toya and LL Cool Gene. He had his Howard hat on and his cast jersey, an ode to the ATL group Outcast. I was here for that. And Phaedra shows up in her booty shorts and them thigh-high boots was giving some Mary J. Blige. Y'all, I liked Phaedra's outfit. So let's see. Getting back on the subject, the Whitnick outfit. Who am I going to give it to? I might have to give it to Phaedra. I like Phaedra's outfit. I don't know if it was the most reminiscent of Freaknik. I think Dr. Contessa had a good outfit as well. So I'd say between Phaedra and Dr. Contessa. Yeah, y'all put in the comments, who did y'all think had the best Whitnick outfit? I want to hear from you guys, so let me know. Ciao. So they came, and then, Sorry, my voice, child. I get so excited and hit the high pitch register. Listen, I'm sitting here talking about Dr. G, and I'll be hitting that high note too. So let me go on my lower register for the rest of this video, please. Um, Dr. Simone, per usual, was lit, y'all. They had them wit 45s. I think she had been in them or in something because you could start telling she was getting a little faded. So Dr. Contessa, Dr. Scott, Dr. G, and Sweet Tea, they all pull up next. I think theirs was like, I couldn't tell what car they were. They were in a vintage white car though. It was cool. And Dr. G was Dr. G's up, hose down. Child, they pull in with Sweet Tea doing her little twerking. And I ain't gonna lie, honey, that's very reminiscent of Freak Nick because you saw a lot of that. A lot of girls doing that on the hood of cars as we're going through traffic. That was very on brand. Very on brand. I don't know that she's the best twerker, but it was giving Freak Nick. And her nickname was Queen Letitia. In confessionals, producers asked if she met Dr. G at Freaknik, would she have given him her number? Of course she would, y'all. Dumb question. Of course, Dr. G helps himself to the answer and quickly says, oh, yeah, most definitely. She would. Mm-hmm. So then they get out of the car. And what was crazy to me is they all acted so shocked to see Contessa. Now listen. So apparently the way they're gonna spin it this season is Sweet Tea brings her back into the fold. So she comes back to the show through Sweet Tea. Okay. Everybody acts like they're shocked to see her. And Dr. Heavenly says maybe they're both here to take turns whipping on her hind parts. Child, maybe so, because you've got them both pretty pissed off. I don't know. So Dr. Contessa in confessional says she's back and did we miss her? And like I said in the beginning, I sure did not. No, ma'am. No, I didn't miss you. And we'll see how it goes this season, but I will not be hurt if you decide to pursue other ventures after this season. But we'll see. We'll see what she's given. We'll see what her and Dr. Scott are given. But she greets everyone, to include Dr. Heavenly. And Dr. Heavenly goes in for the hug. And in confessional, she's really surprised. She was like, she's hugging me like we're long lost cousins, more like long lost enemies. And I'm just like, Dr. Contessa, it really shouldn't have been that serious. Now I'm going to give it to Sweet Tea because her and Dr. Heavenly, they really went at it. I'm not going to give it to you, Dr. Contessa, because Dr. Heavenly maybe shouldn't have said some of the things that you told her. But that was stuff that you said on camera, ma'am. And I don't think that she has the same argument as Sweet Tea. Y'all slide in the comments and let me know what you think. I'm sorry. I don't see it for her. I just don't. I mean, Dr. Heavenly is messy. She did say some things, but you put it out there, ma'am. You put that out there. So disagree on that one. But y'all let me know what you think. So in confessional, Dr. Contessa thinks that, honey, she don't know why Dr. Heavenly is hugging her like that. She was like, maybe because I'm in costume and she don't recognize who I am. Maybe that's it. Nah, girl, you know Dr. Heavenly. Maybe she don't think it's that serious, child. I don't know. So Sweet Tea says that she hasn't seen Dr. Damon or Heavenly since New York. And she plans on having herself a good time regardless, though. Dr. G says he's still upset about the whole thing, and Dr. Heavenly checks on her man. She's looking for Dr. Damon, and Dr. Simone decides to take the stage to thank everyone for being there and to talk about the purpose of the occasion. She lets everybody know that it's 35 years since they graduated college and that she wanted to put this party together as a celebration. Hence, we get the Whitnick. Honey, at this point, she is still trying to do her thank yous and purpose of the occasion. In comes the ultimate entrance. Quad comes in, child, in a hot vintage car. I did not catch which kind hers was. Was it a vintage Maserati? Y'all put in the comments and I'm not a car connoisseur. I just know what I like. It looked hot. She came in hot, and Dr. Simone on the stage says, "It looks like we have an unexpected guest." But she goes on to say, "We just want everybody to have a good time." Quad says that she fits in because she was invited by Cecil. And they flash back. He, in fact, did invite her, honey. Now, he says that his reasonings were he was trying to help the ladies go ahead and mend fences a little quicker. But, so Dr. Simone says it's typical for Quad to come to something late and uninvited. However, Dr. Simone, she was in fact invited by your man, Cecil. Okay. So Quad gets a very warm embrace from Cecil when she gets there. And in confessional, Cecil admits he did invite her, and he admits that he's trying to help them kind of find their way to each other so that they can make up. And Dr. Simone calls him Cecil the Fixer. So at this point, Dr. Heavenly checks on Dr. Simone to make sure she's good, and she still thinks that Dr. Simone should apologize. And Dr. Simone says she doesn't know why Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly have apologized so quickly. We find out that 3 weeks prior, Dr. Jackie had a conversation with Quad and apologized, and then we see Dr. Heavenly just 3 days prior do the same. And she basically alludes to the fact that they got a lot of negative backlash, and I know they did, after the reunion, just like I mentioned earlier in the recap. And she's like, maybe these ladies are easily swayed by negative backlash and comments. But as for me, meaning Dr. Simone, she was like, I am going to be true to my feelings. Basically, Dr. Simone is like, I feel like I feel, I say what I say, and I stand on business with it. She's like, she basically don't give a F. And I don't know if that's going to work in her favor. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Because Dr. Simone, to me, is a little off-putting, but again, that is just me. She does approach Quad, child, looking crazy, because like I said, honey, at this point, she is lit. But Quad quickly goes in for the embrace, gives her a hug. Dr. Simone says, you made quite the entrance, but as usual, you look gorgeous. Now, y'all, here's another thing about Dr. Simone. I know I'm not here to tear her up. I just want to tell y'all what gets on my nerves. Dr. Simone does not know personal space. Okay? Now, granted, Quad came in for the hug, but Dr. Simone, she likes to talk very close to people's faces. At least she wasn't hollering this time, so I'll give her that. Personal space, Dr. Simone, though. Just saying. So Quad says that she loves Dr. Simone, but she's here because of Cecil. And they have lots to address, but for now, they're just going to sweep it under the rug. So Toya goes up to Dr. Simone and says basically, look, why don't you just go tell her that you want to get with her later and y'all talk it out. And Dr. Simone, who's also very stubborn, y'all. I don't know if y'all, well, I mean, that's obvious, but she says that's because I don't want to get with her and talk about it. So she's still not quite there yet. And she also admits that it's not that she knows that she needs to talk to her, but it's really not the time because she's pretty margarita filled. Like I told y'all, honey, she lit. So it's not the time. Hence, you probably will get some more of that hollering in your face and child. Child, at this time, the DJ makes the announcement that they are about to witness the sounds of Doc Scott. Y'all, we could have done without that. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all thought about old Doc Scott. That was crazy. Dr. Heavenly says, look, if at over 50 I can get a BBL, I mean, I guess he can have a rap career. And child, we find out Dr. Eugene had actually purchased his first single Said that he had at least one streamer, that was him. So, he tried to show his support. Y'all, the song was not that. I'll give Dr. Contessa, she was out there pumping him up, singing the chorus with him, honey. She was standing by her man. But we could have gotten through the whole episode, and really we could have done without old Doc Scott. But y'all let me know what y'all thought. It sounded crazy to me. So Dr. Contessa talks to Sweet Tea and she says, how are you doing? Have you talked to everybody? And she's like, I talked to everybody except the dentist. And she's like, I think that she, meaning Dr. Heavenly, should approach her with an apology. Sweet Tea, at this point, Dr. Damon is near her purview, and she asks Dr. Damon if they can talk. She can talk to him real quick, and she tells him his wife has made some very disparaging remarks about her. Now, at this point, y'all, Dr. Heavenly is looking for Damon, and child, y'all know how she get. Damon, where you at? She looking for daddy now. It's a lot of ladies out there, and she don't play that about her man. So she's looking for him while Sweet Tea's addressing him. And Sweet Tea goes on to say to Damon that she never directly said that he was cheating on Dr. Heavenly, and she doesn't think that he's a bad guy. She's just saying that Dr. Heavenly ran her mouth so much, but before she could get the next bit out, Dr. G steps up and joins them. And she tells Dr. Damon that she basically just repeated something that his wife told her. And Dr. Damon says to Dr. G, what bothers him the most was that G knows him. And he says, look, your wife doesn't know me. So she can say her stuff and perceive him however she wants. But G knows him because they've hung out. And in confessional, Dr. Damon talks about how he was upset about how things went in, guess where, guys? New York. And they show the clip where he did ask Dr. G if he thought he was a cheater. And you see where Dr. G does a long pause and then is basically like, I don't know what you do and all that. So you find out that Dr. G says, he was really not, it wasn't that he was looking for validation per se, but he was looking validation regarding the friendship. Like, in other words, he didn't need him to be like speaking on his behalf as far as whether he cheated or not. But he was saying, this would have let me know, are we really friends? Because you really know me. So for you to not say, oh no, Dr. Damon's not that guy. He's got a good reputation. I've never heard anything like that about him. He had opportunity that he could have said something and he kind of didn't. And Dr. G said, well, for you to charge me with something my wife said was kind of unusual. And Dr. Damon let him know, but look, maybe I get that, but I'm not going to approach her. In other words, he wasn't going to go to the Sweet Tea. He was going to approach Dr. G to talk things through because he has the relationship with Dr. G. So I got where Dr. Damon was coming from. So, honey, by this time, Dr. Heavenly enters the chat. And she says she doesn't need a woman talking to him without her present. So Dr. G and Dr. Heavenly greet each other. And she asked him how he was. And he said he's trying to be all right. And she says she's trying to be all right as well. And Dr. G tells Damon there has been some harsh things that have come from his wife. And Dr. Heavenly says there's been some harsh things coming from your wife. And Dr. Damon says if you've had some problems with what Dr. Heavenly says, you could have come to me. And Dr. Heavenly says that he said he was a cheater. Sweet Tea butts in and says, nope, he never said that. And she says, well, you said that. And then Dr. Heavenly tells Sweet Tea to get out of her face because at this point, they were kind of, getting close. They were all four engaged in conversation. She tells her to get out of her face because that's offensive. It really is. And she tells Sweet Tea, I don't like how you're talking to me. And tells Dr. G, watch your wife. So Dr. Heavenly says, here she goes again, y'all. She's like, bring your mama. and have her talk to me and tells Dr. G, your wife has said some bleepity bleep ish. And Sweet Tea says, you started it on Instagram. And she says, if she says one more thing disrespectful, and this is Sweet Tea talking about Dr. Heavenly, um, then she's going to hit her with a cease and desist. And at this point, there's a little more back and forth, and everybody kind of, you get a quick confessional around the room where everybody's like, listen, this is enough. Uh-oh, I should have known it was going to get to this. And Dr. Simone and Cecil basically said, and this is why Freaknik ended, because of stuff like this, like all the fights and the stuff that broke out. So that's pretty much where we leave, y'all. You have the standoff between Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly and Dr. G and Dr. Damon. Y'all let me know what you thought of the premiere special. What did you rate it on 1 to 10? And look, are you with me? Do you get the whole Dr. Contessa being so angry with Dr. Heavenly? If you do, put it in the comments. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Let me know what you thought about Dr. Simone. Do you think she owes Quad an apology? Let me know what you also think about the whole Wit Nick experience. I thought it was really cool. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Definitely slide in the comments and give me your thoughts. And let you know this week we will be doing, because it's Thanksgiving week, so it'll be a short week for us as far as content, but come back, we're going to have a recap, me and Big Nige on 90 Day the Other Way, the Tell All Part 2 and Part 1 and Part 2. And then we're going to have a little special quick video of gratitude from myself and co-host, my daughter Bria, just to tell you guys thanks again. And again, thank you for tuning in again, y'all. If you haven't, go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful evening. I love you guys. Thank you again for everything, for your support. Keep it coming. Keep sharing. We got to get to that 6K subscriber goal, and I know we will. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great one. See you next time.